If everybody's ready, we'll go ahead and get started. Please excuse our tardiness this evening. At this time, I would like to call the meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District Board of Directors to order. First order is salute to the flag, and it looks like we don't have. Everybody rise and please repeat after Dr. Gould.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Dr. Gould. All right, the Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for Cablecast on Metro Cable 14. Replay on Saturday, February 16th, 2013 at 1 p.m. and Monday, February 18th, 2013 at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. Webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Are there any speaker cards, Madam Clerk?
We have none.
All right, then. Moving on to the consent agenda.
So moved.
We've got a motion by Director Gould and multiple seconds. Board Clerk, can you please call the roll? Multiple seconds.
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Orzali,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we will go to closed session, and I apologize, but I believe it could be lengthy this evening for all of the personnel that are in the building. We may be away a little bit. All right, then, if it pleases everybody, we're waiting on got a couple of folks that slipped out.
I think they're using the restroom.
Okay. All right, then, why don't we go ahead and get started in the sake of brevity. Before we get started too much further, I'd be remiss, and I was reminded by Director Gould, that we need to introduce our new director for District 4. Ted Wood is new director, was selected through a process jointly by Sac Metro Fire and the County of Sacramento. And Mr. Wood, if you'd like to say a word or two, but please keep it to just a word or two. No. Push that red button and they'll hear you.
Just want to thank everyone, appreciate the confidence in me. I look forward to working with the district in meeting some of the challenges we have over the next several years. So thank you, appreciate it.
Welcome aboard. Resuming our agenda, moving on to action items. Do we have to have a report out from closed session?
We can do that now if you want.
Why don't we do that now?
All right. The board met in closed session to consider three different items set forth on the agenda. The first was the conference pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 concerning the industrial disability retirement claim of employee Bruce Thompson. No action was taken. That matter will be voted upon in public session as an action item on tonight's agenda. The board also met pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 to consider three workers' compensation claims as set forth in the agenda. With respect to the claim of Jamie Poole, the board voted by a vote of 9-0 to give authority to the district's third-party administrator to effectuate a settlement of that claim. The board considered the workers' compensation matter of Larry Savage and voted by a vote of 9-0 to give authority to the district's third-party claims administrator to effectuate settlement of that claim. And the board met met concerning the claim of employee Don Hanlon, and by a vote of 9-0, voted to give authority to the board's third-party administrator to effectuate a settlement of that claim. Finally, the board met pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6 to consider labor negotiations. The district's designated negotiator was Fire Chief Kurt Henke, and the board took no action. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to action items, Mr. Simonek. Resolution to appoint members to the Deferred Compensation Committee. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good evening. Troy Simonek. I work for Station 32 on the B shift, captain. I'm here because the Deferred Compensation Committee, which represents 792 members and has assets of about $80 million, it's our 457 plan, recently had a vacancy. Our retired captain, Dave Smith, left the committee after many years of service. His last year was the chairperson. We'd like to publicly thank Dave for his service. Did an outstanding job. With the vacancy, we sent out a letter of interest, and we got some letters back, and Trevor, John Jameson here, was the one that we selected to fill the position, and we're hoping that you guys could fill that position. Have you any questions?
We've got a motion by Director Gould and a second by Director Scheidegger. Board Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Director Monk.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Barzali.
Aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, then. Number 2 on our action items is Mr. Bino. We have a purchase of 2 Type 3 wildland units.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Board President, Board of Directors, Chief Inky. Fred Bino, Metro Fire Fleet Manager. Come to you tonight to seek board approval for the purchase of 2 Type 3 wildland units. This purchase is available through a cooperative purchase agreement from Alameda County, RFP number 900867. This was a competitively bid process with 3 vendors' responses in which Pierce Manufacturing was the successful bidder. The purchase of these 2 units complies with the district's master vehicle replacement plan. The district's wildland team worked closely with our fleet division and had approved the manufacturer and the specification. The district's master vehicle replacement plan has been impacted by budget restraints, and the Type 3 wildland units have not been purchased since 2006. Actually, that was the first year I started here, was when I came to you on these wildland units. When a frontline Type 3 unit is pulled from service or sent on strike team, the available reserves barely meet the requirements of frontline apparatus. These older reserves are costly to operate and maintain and are beyond their life expectancy. The fiscal impact is that the cost of each vehicle is $336,185.65. This is a discounted price when prepaid, a savings of over $11,000 per unit. Funding for these 2 units is available from the Capital Facilities Fund and is included in the fiscal 2012-13 budget. Staff respectfully recommends the board approve the purchase of these Type 3 wildland units from Pierce Manufacturing. The total cost of these 2 units is $672,371.30. This purchase will be funded out of the Capital Facilities Fund.
So move.
Motion by Director Gould, second by Director Jones. We have a question from Director Pearson.
Yeah, just on this, does this include the headsets, radios, all the equipment on the apparatus also, or is that going to be a
The
different
headsets and radios are separate. They're from the communication package from the communications division. That will be on top of that.
Do you,
This is the price just for the vehicle only.
So no equipment either, no hose,
No.
no nothing?
No.
Okay.
do you have an approximate idea how much it is to outfit them for use?
Build up.
The communication package on those is right around, because we're going to put MDCs in both of these, which it's right around $20,000 per
I'd
unit.
love to know what an NDC is.
Well, MDT, mobile data,
Okay.
computer.
All right.
And so that whole package, that includes, like Director Pearson, that includes the heads to the David Clark system, the radios, and the computer. And it's right around ballpark, about 20,000 per unit.
And hose and equipment, everything else is
That'll be extra, correct?
another 10,000? I don't know. I was just trying to get an idea how much each, there's only
Probably
two
on a-
rigs. There's only two rigs. It shouldn't be that much anyhow, so.
Right, right.
Less than 10%.
I'm told that about 30,000 for the additional equipment, hose and stuff like that. And we do have stuff that will come off other units that go out of service that's still serviceable and will be put in place. So we try to use, the most streamlined method we can, but it's about 30,000 was what I'm informed.
All right, so we've got a motion. Any further questions by the directors? Nope. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Monk.
Aye.
Wood. Barzali.
Aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And you've stayed in your position because the next action item is yours as well, for the purchase approval of 2013 Type 2 ambulances.
Yes, I'm back here with you again to seek an approval for the purchase of 4-liter Type 2 ambulances. The purchase is available through a cooperative purchase agreement, again, this is from Los Angeles County, RFP IS 132-00177. These vehicles are for the district's new single-role paramedic program. The Leader Type 2 ambulance meets the criteria of the district's EMS division. Funds for this purchase are going to be coming out of the 2013-14 budget. They're not budgeted for this fiscal year. The reason we're doing this is so that we can get them ordered and be able to have them by the time we pass the next year's budget. I'll kind of explain this in the discussion. The new EMS program will start up by utilizing existing ambulances from our fleet. These current units will be adequate for initial startup, but wouldn't be able to sustain the heavy use for the long term. We anticipate substantial savings using the ambulances that are not equipped or staffed by firefighter medics. The cost for each vehicle is $99,420.23, which includes a multi-unit purchase and government discount. The purchase of these new units were accounted for in the SRPP business plan as anticipated startup costs. Staff respectfully recommends the board approve the purchase of these Type 2 ambulances from Leader Emergency Vehicles. The total cost for these 4 units is $397,680.92. This purchase will be included in our 2013-2014 budget.
So move.
Motion by Director Gould, second by Director Clark. Any questions? Please.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Bino for being out in front of this, and we're planning ahead and continuing to fully address our new single-role paramedic program. Thank you.
Welcome.
Fred, are there any additional cost that goes in it other than just the unit itself?
This will also have communication package also in that we will have to do be an MDC and the radios. There's no David Clarks in these. These will probably average around, I would imagine, they'd be pushing probably $15,000 to $18,000 for the communication package.
Okay, nothing else other than that? That you
That'll
think
be
of?
it.
No,
Everything, all the lettering, all the code 3 lighting, everything is included in them.
So an extra 80,000 bucks roughly?
And
Director Pearson.
just for the benefit of the people watching, so they know what they're spending their money on, the Type 2 ambulance, could you describe that as opposed to what a Type 1 or Type 3, what
Yeah, the type twos are similar, I guess, so to speak, if people have seen what they call a Sprinter van. They don't have dual wheels, they're smaller, they're taller, they're basically a lot less, they're more economical to run. They don't have a lot of the, like with our firefighter medics, we have SCBA air bottles, air packs that we haul in them, turnout gear, and a lot of rescue equipment, which we won't be having in these new units. So they actually don't physically have the room to put that anyway, so.
Thank you. I wanted to make that point clear that when we go to buy the next set of ambulances for our firefighter medics, they're going to be substantially more.
Correct. The
Because we're asking
firefighter
them to do a
ambulances
lot more.
they're around probably 150,000 plus now.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, can't help it. Single-role paramedic, single-role ambulance, so it's okay, it
Exactly.
fits.
Right.
Yeah.
Fred, is there an estimate on the life expectancy on these as opposed to the firefighter?
These, I would venture to guess that we'll get the same mileage and time out of them, possibly more than we do our Type 3s. I would say we should be able to get 5 to 6 years front line out of them. Not having them, this will be our first go-around with them. It's going to be kind of a guess, but I would say just doing the homework and talking to other people that run them, they're pretty bulletproof units, and you can see them running around. They also use them, all the, UPS and everybody uses them too. And we've talked to FedEx, and they like them, and they get a lot of use out of them and a lot of miles.
All right. We've got the motion. Board Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Barzali.
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right.
Thank you.
Item number 4, it's been requested by the chief to put that off to a future date. So we will move on to item number 5, which is the fiscal year 2012-2013 mid-year budget adjustments. Chief Financial Officer McFarland, please come forward.
Thank you. As you recall, it's been over 6 months since we adopted the final budget, and we have better information now than we did 6 months ago of what has transpired. And so we each year do a mid-year adjustment. It's not exactly at the middle of the year because we wait until we have information on our property tax revenues. And so I will lead you through the changes that staff is recommending to the board. We have a lot of information there about, some of what I just talked about, new information on revenue, new programs that we have better information about, and just review of the budget to actual numbers helps us target areas where we need to make adjustments. We continued with the principles that we used when we adopted the final budget. We're looking to be fiscally responsible. We're trying to recover full cost. We make sure that one-time money is used only for one-time expenses, and we prioritize based on operational necessity and minimize the use of reserve funds. This is a summary, and I'll just point out up in the corner, this particular summary relates to page 7 of the document that you received with your agenda. And I will be going in detail over these things, but basically what you see here is a recommended revenue adjustment of almost $5 million, which we'll be detailing. And we identified areas where we needed the money, and we actually identified some additional money to transfer into the general fund. And overall, you'll see as we go along that we're actually using less reserves than what we had in the final budget. So I tried to hit all the high points in the chief's letter that he sent to you. And so these are some of the same information that was in there. Our property tax money, we have had a number of years where we have overestimated our property taxes. So with the support of this board, we brought in HDL to be our consultants. We made sure that we did not overestimate the property tax money in the final budget. And in fact, we did have a loss this year compared to last year of almost $2 million, but we were expecting that to be more in the neighborhood of $4 million, so we were able to add back the $2.1 million that we're recommending. We're still expecting a certain amount of refunds, possibly as people are making appeals and those appeals are decided. We still have, I think, about $1 million that we can, even with this adjustment, there'll still be another $1 million that can be refunded without us not meeting budget. The other two changes, one is the redevelopment agencies that were disbanded in 2012. We now have our successor agencies to redevelopment. They are designed to be winding down the redevelopment agencies. We had a presentation at a previous board meeting in great detail about how that all works. This $1 million, we were able to get the information from the work that Ken Campo does on the oversight boards. Some of it we've received so far, some of it is still yet to come. All of that $1 million is one-time money. It relates to housing funds that are being dispersed back to the agencies. And just for the benefit of anybody that might be watching at home, the reason that our district is receiving these funds is this money originated here. And when the redevelopment agencies were formed, our property tax money was diverted to help their projects. So as they're disbanded, then it goes back to the originating agency. So we're the beneficiary of getting $1 million back of money that would have gone here had there not been a housing agency. And there'll be additional monies that will be coming on an ongoing basis. It's just too early in the whole process to have a real feel for how much that is. So we, in the original budget, really didn't budget for this at all, and so that we're adding the entire $1 million for that item. We also could very well get additional money, but we did not. I don't know those amounts, and I don't want to put things in the budget that I don't have concrete information on. So I am expecting that we will receive more than this, but this is the amount that I have a firm knowledge of the number to be able to recommend for the addition. In addition, we've been talking, as we've reviewed our financial statements every month, about the large number of deployments that have happened by our crews, our line people, and we partnered with other agencies to deploy our people at 25 different fires across the nation. And in addition, we also had personnel at Hurricane Sandy and Isaac. And in total, there's $1.9 million in cost recoveries coming back from the deployments. We do not budget in our final budget for any deployments. In fact, in fiscal year 2011-12, we had no deployments. We didn't have adequate personnel to be able to partner with the other agencies. So we don't put it in. What you will see, though, is that this money is recovering costs. So then when we review the expenditure side of things, you'll see that it's labor costs, that when we send out our personnel, there are other firefighters that have to fill in for them, and they're paid at an overtime rate, and that's what we are reimbursed for. We also receive some smaller amounts for equipment and our administration costs for billing and so forth. So this just compares the revenue that we had in the final budget of 147 million, and it's now with these three additions going up to 152 million. And this is a little bit more detail. I really think we hit all the high points, the increase in the property taxes. I made a small adjustment down on homeowners' tax revenue. That's a budget line item that we budget based on historical numbers, but that can vary depending on how many of the homes in our district are owner-occupied versus owned by someone other than the occupant. We also, the aid to other government, that's where we have that residual money coming from the successor agencies. You'll see in the at minus $112,500, which is the aid to other local government agencies. At a prior board meeting, this board approved a new agreement with the Coast Guard. And so this represents about the loss for a portion of the year, not the whole year. So it'll be increasing again in the next, in the 13-14 budget. But this represents the last part of the year at the lower rate that's now contracted for those services. I have a feeling that had something to do with rounding. I don't recall that one. All right. When we look at the expenditure side of things, we're going from $148 million in the final budget to $154 million. In labor costs, that's where the large share of it is. We have that large $1.7 million in deployment that's fully reimbursing us for our staff. We also included an additional $300,000 for CalPERS retirement costs. Our single-role paramedic program was budgeted for those personnel to be miscellaneous members of CalPERS, and I don't know that it's 100% finalized, but it looks likely, based on CalPERS rules, that they will be deemed safety employees, at least at this point in time. And if that's the case, we wanted to have that additional $300,000 in there to be able to fund the proper amount for the contributions to CalPERS. And then the third item is an item that we knew about at final budget. We have a substantial liability at the County of Sacramento for the legacy pension plan that was from a predecessor agency. And we've been paying about $567,000 a year. It's not adequate based on the last actuarial study that was done for that plan and for our remaining liability there. And so we knew we needed to put more money there, but we didn't have it. And now that this additional money is identified at mid-year, we felt that that was the appropriate place. That is basically what we've talked about among management, is that is the last can that we've been kicking down the road, that we didn't have the ability to pay that whole amount. What I did mention in the packet that you received is that we have some discretion on paying that. We have a certain date it all has to be paid by. And so if by chance some of our revenues don't come in the way we think they are, we probably wouldn't pay any more than what we normally pay, and then we would just wait until those additional revenues come in. And the two that I'm referring to, and I probably should have discussed a little bit when we talked about revenue, is that we have the GEMT cost money that's been budgeted. We feel very confident that we'll be receiving it, but the process for getting all approvals has taken a lot longer than we anticipated. And it may end up being that we actually have less money in the budget than what we're going to receive, depending on some of the decisions that are being made down in back east. I believe it's the Baltimore office of CMS. So We will just wait until the last month of the fiscal year, determine where we are, if indeed that money has come in, and we have, and also met our expectations as far as the community risk reduction revenue, where we have a substantial amount of inspections yet to do this year. If all of that plays out as we plan, then we will, if the board approves the mid-year as recommended, then we would have this money available to go ahead and make that additional payment. But if that money doesn't come in, then we would defer that for a future budget.
I'd just like to jump in here, President Kelly, if I may, and add a few editorial comments on that. It wasn't this administration, we inherited the SCRS. Rhonda identified it when we brought her on as the CFO. And by the time we got stuff straightened around for this budget that we're currently in, it had been being paid at $575,000 a year. We said, we need to know what the real dollar figure is, and we need to start straightening that out and getting it funded. So really, when we ended up with that $2 million coming in property tax, that's ongoing revenue for an ongoing expense. It was the last expense that had not been dealt with. And previous to you folks and us, it was a lot less than that. So the reason it's exploded was because of the poor economy over the last 5 years, which resulted, if you didn't pay it off for the couple $1 million you could have, now it's up to about $21 or $22 million that we have to pay off. So we had said, listen, that's the priority that needs to be there. And then in regards to the $300,000 in CalPERS, I'll take every opportunity to talk about CalPERS. They are a wonderful agency, except for the problem is that they don't fully tell you what you have to do and how you do it. And so they came and approached us after we did the SRS single role paramedic program and said, oh no, well, your contract, we have this little contract thing here that says you have to pay them safety. So we said, well, give us that in writing, and of course that increases the rate on us. So you can expect to probably see us coming back to talk to you about contract amendment for future employees, which would drop the cost significantly, like in excess of 50% for future employees, because they were in the job announcement for single role paramedic. It specifically said this was a non-safety position. And CalPERS, through the contract, said, well, and they haven't guaranteed that they're not going to give us the break, but they've really indicated that they probably won't. So we'll probably have to do that contract amendment change. So I just wanted to make those 2 points because I think it's pretty critical.
Are you substantially complete with your report? Are you ready for questions?
I have more.
You have more. And
But what I think would be good is, because we have a number of funds, is that when we get to the end of the general fund, would be a good time to take questions, and then I'll try to scoot us quickly through the miscellaneous funds that we have.
okay, sounds fine.
How about if we take a vote after you talk about that specific line item? Because you've broken out the motions, the resolutions are broken out by topic, right? Could we not hear about that? Take a vote, move it off the table, and then move on to the next one?
If that's your pleasure.
It's really the president's pleasure.
It's fine. I think that would enable us to take them as we go through them, rather than have to make motions on 7 different resolutions at the end.
Right.
This is a little bit more detail of what's in the labor costs, and I just thought I would mention, because of a question that I received from one of the directors about that decrease in the health insurance. And we had 2 things going on there. When open enrollment happened, we had the opportunity to encourage employees to select a lower cost plan, and in fact, we had a response by the people that could have something comparable at a lower cost plan. We were able to save $200,000. And for this fiscal year, we can only recognize 50% of it because it's from January through June. In addition, we didn't have the actual health insurance rates when we prepared the final budget, and so we had to estimate it based on just trends. And in fact, it came in better for us than we expected. And one of the main reasons is that CalPERS negotiated a deal with CMS so that all Medicare-aged employees have their Part D, which is their pharmacy portion, through CalPERS, where before, I guess they could have chosen a different provider. And they were able to get, because of that, a 22% cut in the Medicare rates that we were paying for our retirees. So that was pretty dramatic. So that is why you see that decrease. Service and supplies, the main increase, and I'm going to go quickly. I think maybe I'm going a little too long here, but the main increase there was we have a new SAFER grant. It covers certain things and other things it doesn't cover. It doesn't cover their gear. It doesn't cover their academy. So we had to add money in for that, which we're more than benefiting from that large grant. And we had one repair that the board had already approved that we needed to amend the budget for. We had the hoist, and that actually was budgeted, but it was budgeted in the Capital Facilities Fund, and that was, I would like to say that was my error. I don't know that much about helicopters, and I thought we were buying something when in fact we were repairing something. So when you repair something, you really can't spend development fees, you can't spend debt proceeds, so we needed to get that back over to the general fund. And then in addition, we have one of the helicopters that needs a significant repair. Okay, so again, as the year has gone by, we've identified some problems in our fire stations. We have several of them with major leaks. We have one with a major beam problem. We've also had an item that has come to you before, the ramps at Station 65, so we had some change orders on that. So altogether, we are recommending a $1.1 million increase in capital costs for that. So overall, all of the changes in cost, capital and operating, is a $5.45 million change. And this is a little bit of detail on some of the other stuff that we have. I guess one of the things that I'll emphasize here is, again, with the successful grant program that is conducted by this district, where you see the decrease in our fitness and wellness costs, it was because we have a grant. So that is something that will benefit us for the next couple of years, and then that cost will have to be recovered back into the general fund. But we are benefiting from that. We also had a major decrease on the dispatch services, and that the original budget for that JPA was larger, and we based our budget on that, and their board came in and trimmed that budget, and we benefited by over $100,000 from that. And then on property tax administration, we pay a state mandated fee to the county for administration. It funds their assessor's office and portions of their auditor controller's office. And we have the actual figures on that, and it was $22,000 less than what we anticipated. We had to just estimate based on trends, so that was something we benefited from as well. Transfers. I'm going to go over these really quick, and just basically the adjustments. Last October, we had some issues with the county. They didn't like us having a negative balance in the grant fund, and so they required us to make an additional adjustment. We were able to, when we have the recommended changes for the grant fund now, we no longer have that negative number. We were able to bring that back into the general fund. We still have a transfer going over there, and that's a match for our AFG grant. We have this $500,000 that was in the original final budget, just as a maybe to help our new director. What that's all about was the general fund loaned the Capital Facilities Fund $6 million at one point, and 5.5 had been paid back. We still have this $500,000 to make it whole. Then the next to the last item is kind of like I've been out kind of beating the bushes, turning every rock over, and we had talked a little bit about the fund at the county that had our debt service funds in them that are restricted prior to payment of our pension bonds. And that all has been straightened out. But in addition, the balances that have been in that account and continue to be in the account on an ongoing basis earn interest at the county. So this $513,000 is interest going all the way back to 2004. So I've zeroed out the interest. We'll continue to earn interest. You'll see some transfers in the future. They will not be this big because this represents multiple years. But we're able to add that back into the general fund. And then, okay, the last item, when we talked about the savings that happened by employees switching to lower cost plans, it's been the commitment from the chief and the recommended from management that any of those savings are then used to fund our pre-funding of OPEB costs. So we identified the portion that represented that savings that's in this budget, and we are recommending then a transfer to the OPEB fund for that amount. I think that just about does it for the general fund. We just show here that we are actually using less reserves than what we were using initially. And for Director Wood, the reason we're using reserves is those are startup costs for our single role paramedic program. In the following year, we'll have revenue to offset that, and there'll be enough that they can actually repay the reserves, put them back there. Our costs overall in excess of the revenue with that program for this fiscal year is over $2 million. So we're really only tapping into about, I believe, about 60% of that is coming out of the reserves, and then that will be repaid in the subsequent year. So that's it for our general fund.
All right. Are there any questions of the board for our Chief Financial Officer? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just wanted to clarify on your page 7, numbers on the additional labor cost. Rhonda?
Yeah, would you like me to turn back to that?
No, just a question on it. You had
Okay.
4.3 million additional labor cost listed on the slide. Was that a total of the 1.7, the 300,000, and the 2.7?
Yes, there could be some other minor differences, but those were the major ones.
Okay. Unless my math's wrong, it was 4.7, not 4.3.
Yeah, well, we weren't trying to show everything, but we were just trying to show the major items. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Mr. Chair, I would like to move adopting the mid-year budget for General Operating Fund 212A.
Second.
Motion on the floor and a second. Motion by Director Jones, second by Director Clark. Are there any further questions by board members? Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Directors Monk.
Aye.
Wood. Barzali. Gould.
Aye.
Scheidegger. Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Ms. McFarland, would you proceed with the 212B funds?
What I'd like to ask is those amounts for B and C are very minor. We had closed those funds, and there was a small amount of interest that got posted to them, and so we are asking, we need permission to transfer that money. In order to do that, the county requires us to have a budget, so it's really small amounts. I think if you look at that, if you could take a look at those two resolutions, and if I could have a motion, I'm not planning to present anything on those items.
Okay, then, item number B.
Mr. Chair, I move of West Vineyard Capital Facilities Fund 212B.
Second.
Motion by Director Clark, second by motion by Director Jones, second by Director Clark. Any further questions by board members? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Monk.
Aye.
Wood. Barzali. Gould.
Aye.
Scheidegger. Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, then. Item number C was minor in scope and just a transfer of interest
Rest.
accrued.
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, I'd like to move that we adopt our resolution, item C, resolution adopting a mid-year budget for Antelope Capital Facilities Fund. 212C.
Motion by Director Clark, second by Director Scheidegger. Any questions from board members? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Monk.
Aye.
Wood. Barzali. Gould.
Aye.
Scheidegger. Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And
I do have a presentation for D. So this is our Capital Facilities Fund.
Excellent.
This fund represents restricted money that comes from developer fees, and in addition, it has some debt proceeds from our debt issuance from December 2011. The adjustments that you see in revenue have to do with the USAR props at the Zinfandel Training Facility. Our agency is taking on that project with full reimbursement from the JPA. So that revenue represents the reimbursable revenue from the JPA for those props. In addition, we have $69,000 in other expenditures. That is for a certain amount of GIS work that we need done, some mapping that we need done to support updating our development fees. That's a project that the board approved, the update of the development fees just about a year ago. And we have found that we need to do additional work in order to support those fees. And that has to do with updating our capital facilities plan, and part of that is this GIS work that we need to do. So that's the $69,000. In addition, in the capital assets, you've got, again, $1,315,000 for those USAR props. In addition, there was a minor amount of adjustment for a change order, I believe, on the Zinfandel fence out at the training facility. As far as the transfers down below, I'm trying to refresh my memory, we have that $20,000 has to do with the leased property fund. This fund has made some loans to that leased property fund, which I'll talk some more about. Based on changes there, there's an additional $20,404 needed. And then just to balance things, we have that $214,000, $732 coming from reserves. Just to help people understand what that's all about, is these restricted funds are required to be spent down, and we have amounts that we've accumulated from prior years, and so that's taking care of those additional capital costs and that one operating cost that we added. So that's the amount to take care of that, so that everything balances out down at the bottom. I have, this just is a little bit more detail on the stuff that we talked about. I think that's it. So I would be ready for a motion unless there's any questions.
All right, then we are looking at item number D at this time.
Mr. Chair, I move we adopt the mid-year budget for Capital Facilities Fund 212D.
Second.
We have a motion by Director Jones and a second by Director Monk. Any questions by board members? Seeing no questions, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Directors Monk.
Aye.
Wood. Barzali. Gould. Scheidegger. Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, on page 64, you have the resolution for Fund 212E, which is our pension obligation fund, and that is to budget for the $513,000 that we are transferring from this fund to the general fund, which represented that interest that we've accumulated in that fund since 2004.
All right, then. We would entertain a motion on item E.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we adopt the resolution adopting the pension resolution obligation fund mid-year adjustment.
A second.
We've got a motion by Director Scheidegger, a second by Director Clark. Are there any questions by board members? Seeing no questions, Board Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Monk.
I'm going to abstain on that.
Wood. Barzali. Gould.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. On page 66 of your agenda is the resolution for transferring the money into the it's 212F, which is the post-employment benefit. What we're doing here is we're showing the money coming in from the general fund that we talked about, the $95,208. And then in order to transfer it to our trust, we have to show it as an expenditure. So you've got money coming in and going out and zeroing out. So that is the movement of that $95,208.
F, adopting mid-year budget for the other post-employment benefits, OPEB 212F.
Second.
We've got a motion by Director Clark or a motion by Director Jones and a second by Director Clark. Seeing no questions before us, please call the roll.
Directors Monk,
I'll abstain on that one, too.
Wood,
Aye.
Rosali,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Scheidegger, Clark,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Excellent. Moving on to item G.
Okay, this is our leased property fund. It's on page 70 is the resolution, and I'll just hit the high points here of what we've got going on. It primarily, the changes have to do with the Hurley property that was leased. This board approved the lease with the Sacramento County Sheriffs, and it was a long-term lease, and we did not receive as much money as what I had budgeted. I had budgeted for 6 months, so we're reducing the revenue down to what it represents what we actually have a lease agreement for. In addition, there was one minor change where we had thought we were going to lease out one of the fire stations. That didn't happen. So altogether, it was like a $92,000 decrease in the revenue. As far as the changes under expenditures, those again have to do with the Hurley lease. We took on certain obligations for maintenance, janitorial services, et cetera. We also had budgeted a portion of the real estate commission, but not the entire amount that we needed. On the capital assets, we had budgeted for $345,000 in tenant improvements. In fact, we were able to bring that number down to $190,000. And I know there were certain trade-offs that were made in negotiations. So it more than offsets what we lost in the revenue up above. And that is it. We have down at the bottom, it shows up that $20,000 that is being advanced by the Capital Facilities Fund. We're keeping track of all that. That money will be paid back as we lease more and more of these buildings up. We'll be in a position that we're actually in a positive position, and our goal has been in the future to put that money towards repairs to our fire stations.
And I'd just like to add the one point on that to clarify is that in that deal with the Sheriff's Department, they gave up about $800,000, I think it was, in tenant improvements that we would have had to front as the leasing agency of that building, and that was in exchange for a 10-year lease, long-term lease for that building for a little less rent. And then, of course, we had the ADA issue that came up in regards to access to that building, and the Sheriff's Department agreed to split that with us 50-50.
All right, then. That would be item H. And that concludes your report, Ms. McFarland?
No, I have a grant
yeah.
fund. Do you
Oh,
want to?
no,
Need a
but that
motion.
includes
Oh,
H.
for L? Yes,
No,
for-
but that includes, that concludes H for 212L?
Right, and G probably did not have much.
Right.
I'm a little bit out of order because I think we put this in the same order that we present our financial reports to the board.
Okay.
So this is the lease property fund. The resolution is on page 70, and so that was what we would need.
212L.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion for item H in our board packet.
Mr. Chair, I so move.
Second.
Motion by Director Jones, second by Director Monk. Any questions from the group? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Rosali,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And now you will present item G.
G, which your resolution is on page 68. In the grant fund, this is our good news fund. We do not budget for our grants unless we actually have them awarded to us. We had additional grants awarded to us since the final budget was adopted. These increases represent the amount of those grants that will be spent between now and June 30th. So we actually had far more grant awards than what shows up on here, but this is the amount that will be spent between now and June 30th. So the revenue increases have to do with the SAFER grant, the AFG grant, the fitness and wellness. We have labor costs that are part of the SAFER grant, service and supplies that are part of the SAFER grant, and some capital asset costs, all grant funded. And then we made an adjustment that I talked about earlier, kind of zeroing out almost all of the transfer from the general fund that we had previously approved in October, with the remaining amount just being the match on that AFG grant.
This is the LD fund, right?
This is Fund 212G, and it's on
Yes.
page 68.
My attempt at humor on the LD fund was Mr. Larry Davis. Okay.
Good for you, Mr. President.
Oh, got it.
So, item G then, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we adopt the mid-year budget for grant funds 212G.
Second.
Excellent. We have a motion by Director Monk and a second by Director Clark. Any questions from the group? Board Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Monk.
Aye.
Wood. Rosali.
Aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Scheidegger. Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Do you have anything else to
I would just,
share with us?
before I leave the podium here, I would just like to verify with the clerk that we hit all of the items that you had on the agenda, since we took them one at a time. Did we get them all? Fabulous, okay.
Efficient.
I just want to thank everybody that helped with the budget. It's a lot of work, even mid-year. And so we had a real collaboration of effort. I definitely had great support from my finance team and from the chief and all of the management, and all the way down to everyone in the divisions giving us the good information so that we could get things updated appropriately.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, I
And
would
your hard work.
like to personally thank Ms. McFarland. I had several questions through this process, and she was very timely and responsive. Thank you.
Great. All right then, next item would be item number 6 on our agenda of action items, is a resolution for the industrial disability retirement for Captain Bruce Thomas. Mr. Wells.
Good evening, Directors. Deputy Chief Mark Wells, Administration. Tonight in closed session, you considered the particulars on this, and for our recommendation is to adopt the resolution provided to allow for the industrial disability retirement of Captain Bruce Thomas.
So move.
We've got a motion and a second. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Directors Gould and Pearson.
Thank you. Any questions by board members? Board Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors Monk.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Rosali.
I'll recuse.
Gould.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right then. Thank you, Mr. Wells. Presentation items. No presentation items. No president's report. Fire chief's report.
Since it's Valentine's Day and we're all in hot water already, I'll keep this as brief as possible.
Thank you, Chief.
I'm just going to hit the highlights. We barely lost the Guns and Hoses football game. I talked about that before. We attended a retirement dinner for Chief of Police Rick Brazil for Sacramento City, myself and staff. It was a great event, well attended. Important issue on the 7th of this month, we provided a 3-hour presentation to the Sacramento County Grand Jury in regards to the operations of Sac Metro Fire from top to bottom. I would describe it as an extremely positive exchange. We had 11 members of the grand jury that showed up at our facility. We covered everything from finances to issues that we've talked about, tentative agreements, to the stuff that we've done. And I can't be more complimentary. The grand jury was just tremendous to work with, and we're looking forward to the findings that come out. There was no issues identified when they met with us. They basically wanted an orientation from top to bottom because it is a new seated grand jury. And in years past, we've received extremely positive responses, as you well know, from the grand jury. And so we're hopeful that that will also be the same. On the 8th, we attended the Sacramento Metro Chamber of Commerce Dinner, Gala, and Business Awards event. Predominantly, congratulations to all the people there, but Stan Van Vleck, which is one of our largest stakeholders and landowners in our district, and a great supporter of the fire department, received the Volunteer of the Year award from the Sac Metro Chamber. And so we were just extremely happy, and I got a great thank you note from him. I know there were several directors that went. Directors Jones was there and Director Pearson. And am I missing anybody? I don't think so. Director Orzali was supposed to go but couldn't make it, and that was understood. And so at the end of the day, it was just a great, great event, and terrific to be there. I also spent the last, the 12th and 13th of this week, I represented, as chairman of the California Metro Fire Chiefs Association, I represented us at the California Fire Chiefs Association Executive Board Meeting and President's Forum on 2013 strategic planning, a variety of issues that are very hot button issues, especially with the new legislature that has taken office, and that we went over. That led me to our meeting today with Ken Cooley, right here from Rancho Cordova. Assemblymember Ken Cooley and his staff and our staff briefed him on issues of import to the district in regards to things that we see coming down the pipe. And his main director now is actually Doris Matsui. Congressman Matsui's worked for her, and he's come over to work with Assemblymember Cooley. So it's a good team. They're well versed in what's going on here in our district. And of course, as everybody knows, Assemblymember Cooley's district encompasses our entire fire district. So our fire district encompasses his whole, or his fire department. Remember, Saturday, or really February 15th through the 18th, is a Fill the Boot. On the 16th is Fill the Boot for Burns, the Chief's Challenge. I wanted to thank General Counsel Lavra and Rhonda and a bunch of staff for chipping in. As we all know, I like to salt that boot well before we hit the street so that we win that challenge every year. And so I appreciate everybody donating. You still have time to donate. Please give it to somebody other than me. I don't want to be accused of pocketing cash. And it's tax deductible, and it goes to the Burn Institute, which is just a tremendous, tremendous charity for the children, in combination with the Shriners. Attended the Sac County Fire Chiefs meeting. Next week, I've got Congressman Ami Bera. Will be meeting with him to discuss pre-hospital care and paramedicine and Homeland Security issues with the new congressman. And I'll be speaking at the Carmichael Chamber of Commerce luncheon on the 26th. Also, the Single Role Paramedic Academy, this is pretty big, graduates. They couldn't find a place big enough, so it's at the Jim Solberg Performing Arts Theater in Folsom at 6 p.m. I already got on staff. I like to have stuff here, but we're going to go to Folsom and check out what their digs are, and we're appreciative. But that's our first graduation class of 42. Single role paramedics. That's a new program that starts March 1st. So if you can attend, I'd really, really appreciate it and encourage it. The Firefighters Burn Institute crab feed is the 2nd of March at 6 p.m. Again, that benefits the Firefighters Burn Institute. Reassignments, Captain Ty Item was selected to fill the training day staff captain's position, assignment effective February 11, 2013. I have no retirements to report. I would like to announce for the television audience out there that the district is accepting employment applications for the position of firefighter paramedic, single role EMT, and single role paramedic with a final filing date of March 8th, 2013 by 5 p.m. And we also have an internal opportunity. The district is recruiting for the position of accounting specialist in the purchasing and logistics division. Please note, this is not a new position, but a reclassification of a current position. We're putting that out now because there's a lot of reclassifications or moving of internal people, and it's important for people to know that we're not opening up the hiring spigot out there. We're trying to make do with what we have. Offices will be closed for President's Day on Monday, February 18th. And with that, happy Valentine's to everybody, and that concludes my report. I'd entertain any questions you might have.
Chief, what was the date on the single role paramedic graduation?
That's going to be on the 27th of February at 6 p.m. at the Jill Solberg Performing Arts Theater in Folsom.
Thank you.
Chief Holbrook.
Board, Christopher Holbrook, Operations Chief for Metro Fire. I will be brief tonight. Since the 21 days since we last met, we have had 3,573 dispatches, and we transported at a rate of 73.7%. That's a very good transport rate, and those numbers do include our partner AMR. In that same time frame, we've had 23 working structure fires. 19 of those were within Metro's jurisdiction, and we provided automatic aid to both the City of Sacramento and Folsom for 4 of those incidents. With that, in the interest of brevity, I'll conclude my report, but I'm available for questions.
Any questions of Chief Holbrook? Seeing no questions. Thank you, Chief Holbrook. General Counsel, do you have a report?
No report.
All right. Is there a representative from Firefighters Local 522 present?
Charles Jenkins, Battalion Chief, representative from Local 522. Ty Bailey wanted to know he's enjoying a nice night with his wife on Valentine's Day. So he asked me to come in. Really, the only thing.
What's his email?
His email, yeah, let him have it. Currently, coming up next week, the information wanted to be passed on. We have a tentative agreement with the district and Local 522 that's going to go out to vote next week. And we'll have a result back from that at that time. That's all I have.
What day is that going to be voted on?
Be the 21st, I think 21st, 22nd, or 2021st. I've got the dates, but
Okay.
I think you're going to be asked to come
All right.
be part of that process.
Wasn't sure what day you guys were voting, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be happy to send that to you right when I get back to my seat.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Battalion Chief Jenkins, thank you. All right, committee and delegate reports. The executive committee met prior to last meeting, or actually, prior to last meeting, and we made committee assignments. Mr. Wood, what we'll do is, our committees are full, but what we will do is we'll inform you of the committees and their functions and find out which one you have interest in and try and find some opportunities for you. The executive committee needs to schedule an additional meeting, and we're not sure, would you like to do that sooner than later?
Preferably, yes.
This evening after tonight's meeting?
No, that's rejected.
No, that's rejected.
You'll bring candy.
All right, then, I would encourage
Flowers?
you to work directly with the other members of the executive committee, and we'll determine a good date for that.
Right.
Okay. Moving on to Communications Center, JPA. Mr. Cockrell.
President Kelly, Director Scott Cogram, Deputy Chief Support Services. We did meet from the Comm Center at the beginning of this month. We made new positions. So currently, the Fire Chief of Folsom, Ron Phillips, is the chairman of the Communications Center Board. I'm the vice chair. Chief Phillips is the chair of the Finance Committee, and I'm the chair of the Personnel Committee. Director Monk continues to be the alternate that is out there. Things are moving at a fast pace there. The new Communications Center Manager, the executive position there is very very energetic. We're seeing a lot of changes in positions, a lot of new positions being filled. They had some interviews for some IT positions just at our facility over the last week. She is doing a great job, a lot of energy. I'll continue to remind you every time I have an opportunity to that the infrastructure there has a significant price tag associated with it in the next couple of years that we have to plan for. She's working hard and has actually been working with Larry Davis and others with our agency and outside of our agency to secure some funding for that. But between the P25 migration, which is a radio migration, and the CAD infrastructure, how old it is, and just really all of their infrastructure is deteriorating, building maintenance, building upgrades. We're going to be into that for millions and millions. We're going to have some better figures on that. I think at the next board meeting, she should be providing some costs associated with that, but we really need to be able to, Metro Fire is going to have a big piece of that. So is there any questions I can answer? That's into my report.
Anybody?
Chief, just this last week, I watched a video presentation on the communications center and things that are going on in Southern California. And pardon me if I don't remember what his classification was, but one of the chiefs from LA County is working on it. In fact, they got a $135 million grant in upgrading communications for Southern California. And I was wondering if there were any plans. I know you said Larry's working with you, and looking or asking them about the information on possible grant funding to help Northern California on upgrading our systems.
Yeah, I can't answer that particularly, but I'll make sure that, I know Larry's in the back of the room still, and we'll figure out who that is and work with Teresa to kind of evaluate that. There's a lot of information and emails that are going back and forth between her and us related to those kind of funds. She seems to be very involved. She's receiving an award from a high-up communication committee or association that she's a part of. So she's pretty engaged and involved, so we feel comfortable that she's really keeping her eye on that.
Yeah, some of the testimony that was provided by the chief was that they're dealing with the upgrade of the national communications network and framework. So now might be a good time to be working with everybody and trying to secure national funding as well.
All right, then. If that concludes the report. All right, then. Next item would be the California Fire Rescue Training, JPA. We have a meeting on the 27th. It indicates that it's at the California Emergency Management Agency's media room, but I believe that I received some information that it was at 9320 Tech Center Drive. So, well,
President Kelly, we'll get you that information. Clearly, they're pretty excited about the new classroom space, so I guess they probably want to show.
and I think the only thing that we'd have to report out since the last meeting that we had with them would be the fact that we authorized a lease of a new building at 9320 Tech Center Drive that is, it was almost built for them, apparently.
It was a
And-
university, former university that was only a few years old. It was built for the educational purposes. It came with all the desks, tables, everything, whiteboards, the whole 9 yards, AV all wired, and it was a great deal. And I was informed the other day that the new dean of CSTI was walking through there looking at class space for around 1,000 students for the next year. So we've got some good stuff going on.
So opportunity for them to start really generating some revenue for themselves. All right, then, and we will meet again on Wednesday of next week, and I'll look forward to finding out exactly where that meeting is going to be. Finance Committee, Director Monk.
Well, I'd like to take the opportunity, Finance Committee met this evening, and I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce the new Finance Committee Chairman, Director Scheidegger.
Monk and Mr. President, the full Finance Committee met, Director Jones, Director Monk, and myself, and we received an excellent briefing on the mid-year finances from Ron Empanade and Rhonda McFarland. Basically, the tax collections are slow, like last year. The medic collections are up about $2 million, which is very helpful. The Community Risk Reduction Program is a little behind, but they are working to catch up. They're at about 19% of the projected revenue, but are working to catch up on that. The total revenues are up about $1.7 million over last year, and expenditures are within budget. And that's kind of the status. Our next meeting is set for March 14th. Any questions?
No questions? Thank you. Next item would be the Policy Committee. Director Orzali.
For a second. Policy Committee will be meeting at the meeting of the 28th of February at 5 o'clock. And it's my understanding from discussions with Chief Wells that they have some items for us to review.
All right, then. That concludes our committee and delegate reports. Board member questions and comments. On my right, Director Monk.
I've got nothing to add this evening, to be very brief.
All right. Director Pearson.
Welcome the new board member, and happy Valentine's to everybody. That's about it.
Director Jones.
Thank you. Two items. One, thank you to Brenda Briggs for support at a community event towards the end of January. The very large community, it was a successful event, a memorial, and we thank you for your assistance on that. And Mr. Chair, my second item is a very important item as well. For those of you who may or may not know, retired Fire Captain Cliff Haskell passed away a few days ago. And there will be memorial services for him next week. And I would respectfully request that this board have a moment of silence and adjourn the meeting in honor of retired Captain Cliff Haskell from the Sacramento Fire Department. He was the founder for the Pacific Burn Institute and has evolved into the Firefighter Burn Institute today. So if anyone wants any more particulars on the celebration of life, please feel free to contact me later. So Mr. Chair, or Mr. President, if we could conclude the meeting with a moment of silence for Cliff, it would be greatly appreciated.
It will be done. Director Clark.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, would like to welcome Director Wood and look forward to working with you, and happy Valentine's Day. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Director Scheidegger.
Again, welcome, Director Wood. I again want to point out the fine work that our fiscal people are doing. Both the mid-year analysis and the mid-year adjustments were well done, and it really reflects well on them. Thank you very much.
Director Gould.
Happy Valentine's to my wife.
Director Orzali.
I'll make this equally brief. Chief, I wanted to express my appreciation for the work that you and the staff did with regard to the reduction or the funding of OPEB. It's a critically important issue, and I think this is truly a landmark moment for us. So my admiration for all that hard work. And with that, Director Wood, thank you. Welcome aboard. I look forward to working with you. And that's it. Thanks.
Director Wood.
Just want to say thanks again to everyone. Appreciate it. I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and I do appreciate Chief and everyone else that's been so kind in helping me get up to speed in a very short time today. Thank you.
And I would just encourage the chief and senior staff to look for football players in that single-role paramedic program. Maybe we'll do better next year. All right. This meeting's adjourned. Please, we'll rise and stand a moment in silence. Thank you.